Before we start off, I think we should discuss or address the Chris Neil situation. As it was reported yesterday, both Randy Lee and myself met with Chris Neil on on Tuesday, pardon. It was reported Monday, but it was Tuesday. We talked with Chris. We talked to him about his potential future role in this organization as far as playing next year. Both us and Chris felt that that's probably not a role that he would like, and we decided mutually that it was probably best that we wouldn't offer a contract to Chris for next year. First and foremost, I probably have had the three toughest things I probably have had to do in this organization. One was definitely speak on behalf of the Anderson family in late October. That was probably the toughest thing. I probably have to tell you that when we fired Dave Cameron, that was probably the second toughest thing. And I'd have to say that the conversation with Chris Neil was in my top three toughest things that I've had to do as a general manager here. I have the utmost respect for Chris Neil. If we look as recently as the Rangers series in the past year, I don't think we win that series without him. Chris, to me, represents everything that a lot of people would ever want us to be. His character, his leadership, his grit, what he's ready to sacrifice and what he's ready to do for his teammates. I think Chris, his ability to take on way bigger, stronger guys, fight for his teammates is something that will never be forgotten on this team, in this organization. I think him and Caitlin are wonderful people. I've had the chance to serve on the Sens Foundation board with Caitlin, and we wish him the best of luck moving forward. And I have nothing but the utmost respect for Chris Neil.
Why was he not a fit for you guys anymore?
Well, I think how this team evolved this year, his role, we saw that his probably role diminished, and we talked about a potential similar role next year, and Chris still feels that he can probably play more minutes than he was given here, and we have to respect that. One thing about Chris Neil, he's going to try to prove everyone wrong in this organization, and that's okay, because he's a great person to be around. And after that, he's just, when you look up character in the dictionary, if it was an Ottawa Senators dictionary, it'd be Chris Neil would be right beside it. So there were no hard feelings. It was mutual from both sides that this probably wouldn't work out moving forward for next year. And we shook hands, and it was a really good conversation.
You've got, I guess, 48 hours or so to get your expansion draft protected list submitted. How close are you to having that here as we sit here on Thursday morning?
Thursday morning, feel pretty good. We've gone, we've been preparing for this for over a year. So we've looked at every possible scenarios. We haven't had a surprise yet. We are still looking at possibly going 7-3-1 or 8-1. And we're not going to show our cards. I think when it comes to expansion, we have a good idea what we're going to do, and unless we make some trades from now until Saturday at 3 is the trade freeze. So Bruce is happy. I've talked to, I think, 23 out of my 30 counterparts in the last 3 days. So there's a lot of chatter, but as we see there, I don't think there's been a deal done except for, I think, the Wild traded Graovac to Washington. So I don't think there's, former 67. So I don't think there's been much done, but I know there's a lot of discussions between GMs.
Are you disappointed if Dion chooses, as he says, not to waive his no trade clause?
No, I think we're going about it all the wrong way about this, and what I read and what I see. I think with Dion loves it here. He feels this team is headed in the right direction. He wants to be a part of it. He's brought great leadership, great character. I think if you talk to Erik Karlsson, he'll be the first one to tell you that Dion's helped him a lot. And I'm not going to deny the fact that we had discussions with Dion, with his agents. I don't think we should go really elaborate on any of those discussions, but no, you know what? I think we have to always explore all options. If it would have been a forward, I think we would have asked any forward if they would have had a no move, if they were willing to move, no matter who it was. I will give you a bit of breaking news as far as expansion today. we will be protecting Erik Karlsson no matter the surgery.
But that being said, though, you like your top four, so what does it force you to do now? And I know you won't show your cards until Friday, but
Saturday at 3.
Sorry, what will it force you to do?
It forces us that we're in a situation where we felt that this could happen. And is it a trade? A possibility. But trades are way easier to do, or way easier talked about than to do. So at the end of the day, Las Vegas is paying a lot of money to come in this league, to be part of this great product that we put on the ice. They're going to get someone from our team, and from day one, we've been ready to accept that. You know, I don't think if we wouldn't explore all our options, do all our due diligence, and look at what we could look in the trade market, but at the same time, sometimes if you make a trade with a team, then you risk the fact of losing another asset. So maybe just accept that you're going to lose one asset. They can't take 2 players. I read the rules a lot of times. Ian will tell you, he's read the rules too. They cannot take 2 players. They can only take 1 player. And maybe as an organization, we lose that player, we move forward. Whatever position, I feel our depth is very good, whether it's on defense with some of the kids we got coming in Shabbat, in Harper, who played in the playoffs. Randy and Sean Donovan are really excited about Christian Jaros. I'm a bit more excited about Andreas Eglund. So I know on the back end we've got some good guys, and up front we saw Colin White Colin White played in the playoffs for us. Played a game at the end of the year. We feel comfortable with what we've got as far as depth. We got Logan Brown. We got a lot of good assets.
Do you have any idea how Vegas tipped the hat at all of what they might be interested from you?
Nope. No, I've talked to George. I'm not going to deny the fact that I haven't talked to George. I've talked to George a few times in the past few weeks, and why would they? I think if you're a good poker player, and we've never played poker, Terry, but why would you show your cards? That's why when it comes to expansion, you can't say much. You know, if any of you want to come to Vegas, I'll be there and we can talk. I think I got to do media availability on the day before and might have a better idea because our list will be submitted by then. But they have not tipped their hand, nor should they.
You mentioned some tough conversations that you've had to have, whether it was Dave Cameron and Chris Neil. From that standpoint, was it a tough conversation to get a hold of Dion Phaneuf and ask him to waive his no move clause or no trade clause?
No, usually when the general manager phones, the players answer the phone. That's always been my case. So no, we talked. It was Dion's a pro. He's been around the league for many years. I think when we took this job. When I took this job last year, I said one of the best exit interviews we had last year was with Dion Phaneuf. He's been around. You know, someone's been a captain of the Leafs. You know, he's been through a lot. He's played only in Canadian markets, so he understands the game. It was a man-to-man conversation. It was a good conversation. It was explained very well to him, our request, and why we were making this request. And it wasn't the fact that we felt that he was our 4th best defenseman. It was the fact that we'd like to keep our top 4 together. And at your age and salary, well, the likelihood maybe not Vegas taking you is a possibility, but who knows? I don't know. Maybe Las Vegas would have taken him. But at the same time, my respect for Dion hasn't changed. It's still the same. I still think he's a big part of this team, and the fact that he wants to be here tells me a lot about him.
You're picking 28th in the first round, if I'm not mistaken. Are you willing to...
Thank you for the first question about the draft, Bernie.
Are you willing to dangle that or move that pick if need be?
Haven't picked 28 too many times in my career, so we'll see. For sure. I've had discussions with other GMs about moving up or moving down. We don't have a lot of picks, so if we go to 28 and we could get, and I'm just throwing 2 picks in the second to make a total of 3 picks, that might be something that we'll look at. If we feel that there's someone that's still there at, I don't know, I'm giving a number 20, and we feel that we maybe have to give up our second and we're getting an asset that we never thought we'd get, then we might look at that. You guys saw what we did last year. Wasn't afraid to give a 3rd round to pick up Logan Brown, and it could be the same situation this year, but we don't have as many picks, so we're going to have to really think it through. I got to say that Trent Mann has done his first year as Chief Scout. I sat in a bit of the meetings. We're in the playoffs, so it was a bit more difficult, but he had the chance to come back, and we went through the list, especially the top 50 with a lot of attention and detail, and I feel really good about what this staff has done this year.
With who you perhaps lose to Vegas, will that affect your July 1st? Will you be very active at all come July 1?
Well, it depends. It depends. Maybe George and I can work out a trade before then, and maybe we don't lose anyone. Maybe it turns out to be a prospect or a pick. So,
what does July 1 look like to you?
Canada Day.
Quiet?
Anniversary, what is it?
150.
150? So,
I heard about this.
I think July 1st, I can't see it. Most of our core's here, so I can't see us being overly active. But things change so quickly that you don't want to set anything in stone.
Do you think you get a quality player at 28?
Yes. Yes, without a doubt. Going through the draft, I've had the chance. I didn't scout as much as I wanted to. I think with everything going on here and all the trades that we're trying to make, and probably me watching more NHL than any other league this year, that at 28 I know we're going to get a good player.
Who all isn't going to be qualified for you?
Matt O'Connor, Ryan Rupert, Jyrki Jokipaka. Did I forget someone? No, I don't think I did.
Have you had a discussion with Chris Kelly?
Yes, we met with Chris Kelly also on Tuesday. We indicated to Chris Kelly that a contract will not be offered on July 1st or up to July 1st. We're not completely turning the page on Chris Kelly. If I can say anything about Chris Kelly, our biggest addition this year was Chris Kelly. As far as changing our culture in the room, leadership, character, accountability. I think Chris brought all those intangibles that we were looking for, and we told him that this might be only a one-year thing. But on Chris, we're not completely turning the page because, as we saw, we signed him a bit later in the summer last year, and it could be the same situation. Not that I want to send some doubt, but we don't know how Broussard's 4 to 5 months when he got operated, and having Chris around might not be the worst thing.
How concerned are you with the surgeries of Carlson and Broussard at the beginning of the year?
Well, I texted with Eric, and surgery was successful. It went very well. It was exactly what they expected it to be. So on that front, we're very hopeful that Eric will be able to play when the season starts. He doesn't even like exhibition games, so it turns out perfect for him.
Did you talk to Chris Neal at all about an off-ice job, management, or not management, but some sort of ambassador, something with the team now? Or
I just told Chris that at this point in time, you still want to play, and if you play 1, 2, or 3 years, however long he wants to play after that, I think as an organization we should always have the door open for Chris Neal.
You made some progress with any of the other pending UFAs like Condon, Pyatt, Stallberg?
Condon, Pyatt, Stallberg, Wingel's agents have had discussions with in the last few weeks. Everything is progressing probably better than expected, but no one wants to sign right now. I think I have an idea why. Ian, you know why. And I think it has a lot to do with expansion, because I told all of them that none of you will be protected if you were to sign, and they're waiting, and I'm hoping to continue conversations with all 4 of them. With those UFAs, now I'm sure you're asking about Pajot Sylvain. Yeah. With Pajot, Craig and I, he's planning to be in Vegas, and last time Craig and I got to Vegas, we were able to do Mark Stone and Mika Zibanejad, so I have a lot of faith. Oh, Brian Morse won't like this, but over Crab's table, we'll be able to get a deal done.
You guys talked in the playoffs about how important of a role Chris Neal played when he did come in for those 2 games in minimal minutes. Mm-hmm. Who's going to play that role now for you?
It's something that we're going to have to look for. Internally, I feel we have a guy like Michael Blunden, even though he played just a game for us, that played that role in Binghamton, still able to provide some quality minutes down there. I think that's one of the reasons we looked at him signing 2 years if things didn't go well with Christian. If not, we'll have to look outside on July 1st.
C'est quoi votre stratégie pour le repêchage maintenant que vous choisissez au 28e rang?
La stratégie ne change pas. C'est encore la même chose. Repêcher le meilleur joueur à 28. Pour nous, c'est important. Juste d'ajouter de bonne qualité personne, de bons joueurs à l'organisation. On sait que le joueur qui va jouer le 28 ne va pas jouer pour nous l'année prochaine. Donc, ça va juste ajouter quelqu'un qui pourra nous aider dans quelques années.
Vous avez mentionné quelques fois la possibilité de faire un échange avec Vegas. Est-ce que c'est quelque chose que vous explorez de façon sérieuse?
J'explore des échanges avec 30 équipes dans la Ligue à tous les jours. Donc, je pense pas qu'on devrait juste regarder juste à faire un échange avec Vegas. Je pense si on va dans cette direction-là, il y a plusieurs équipes qu'on va faire des échanges avec.
Est-ce que votre liste de joueurs protégés pour le repêchage est pas mal définie à ce moment-ci?
On a une idée. Si on va 7-3-1, on sait quelle direction qu'on pense aller. Et si on va dans la direction de 8-1, ou si on sait dans quelle décision qu'on doit prendre.
Justement, quelle sorte de joueur vous cherchez?
Pour le repêchage?
Ouais,
Rien de spécifique. Juste le meilleur joueur qui peut nous aider. Lorsqu'on pêche aussi tard dans la première ronde, on est très content. Ça veut dire qu'on a une bonne saison. Mais par la suite aussi, c'est juste pour pouvoir ajouter quelqu'un à l'organisation.
Ta priorité ou ton rêve premier, c'est de protéger ce top 4 défensif-là qui t'a amené en série l'an passé?
Mon premier rêve, ça aurait été après le match à Pittsburgh, de jouer contre Nashville. Mais ça n'a pas arrivé. Des rêves, c'est des rêves. On peut souhaiter plusieurs choses, mais il faut qu'on réalise souvent que les rêves ne peuvent pas arriver pour différentes situations.
Mais dans le meilleur des scénarios, est-ce que tu préférais garder ces 4 défenseurs en place?
Dans le meilleur des scénarios, j'aimerais garder toute notre équipe en place. Mais c'est des choses que ça ne peut pas arriver. Parce que j'ai beaucoup d'espoir dans comment cette équipe a grandi l'année passée. Donc, j'aimerais ça pouvoir garder tout le monde en place. You want me to repeat that in English? That was a really good answer.
Non, mais dans une French. Est-ce que c'était une conversation difficile avec Dion pour lui demander de peut-être...
Non, la conversation était très professionnelle. Je l'ai dit à maintes reprises que j'ai beaucoup de respect pour Dion et ça s'est bien passé. Puis mon respect pour lui ne change aucunement. Et le fait qu'il veut rester à Ottawa, je pense, ça démontre des bons signes pour notre organisation.
Quand tu lui as demandé, est-ce que tu avais une idée des chances qu'il dise oui à ça?
J'avais aucune idée. Tu sais quoi? C'est pas à moi de décider ces choses-là. C'est à lui. Et j'avais aucune idée est-ce qu'il était pour dire oui, est-ce qu'il était pour dire non. Donc, non. Je ne suis pas quelqu'un qui est capable de lire la tête des gens. J'aimerais ça être capable, mais je ne suis pas capable.
Pajot, on veut le garder dans l'équipe. Je sais que vous pensiez peut-être le signer à long terme. C'est toujours dans les plans. Est-ce qu'on...
Ça va être soit 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 ou 7, ou peut-être 8.
Can I just ask you about Carlson? Was surgery the only option for him?
Without a doubt. Surgery was the only option for Eric. I'm not a surgeon. All I know is the two cracks, there's a chance that they caused the tendons to tear. And the pain because of that was excruciating. So for Eric to play with that type of pain, not even close to being 100%, like if you know anything about tendons and trying to skate, you probably can't. And to him to play at that level tells me, wow, if he can play at that level on one leg, imagine when he's going to be healthy and really wants to go at it, how good he can be. So I think that just tells us that we have something special in Eric in Ottawa. We hope he's going to be here for his whole life. And it just shows how good of a leader he's become and how good of a player he is.
At what point did you realize he required surgery? Because at the end of the season...
Yeah, I know. It's the same thing on brass. I came up here. I said, no surgery needed. I went down and they said, Derek needs surgery. So probably a week ago or so, I think he was away, and that's when we talked to many doctors. He went to see a doctor by the name of Dr. Anderson in Charlotte, who I'm told is the best in the world, and I talked to Jerry after the surgery, and he said this guy's outstanding. So we consulted with doctors in Ottawa, and I forget the names here, and they were outstanding. We talked to someone in Toronto, and it seemed the best course of action was to go this way, and to have this person who did it, who sounds like he's the best in the world.
Répéter en français, c'est la seule option pour Carlson?
Oui, la seule option pour Carlson, c'était une opération pour Eric de jouer avec autant de douleur sur une jambe. C'était la meilleure option. On l'a appris après la saison. On a attendu quelques jours pour faire un MRI, pardon, si je ne sais pas le terme francophone. Puis par la suite, on a consulté plusieurs docteurs, dont ici à Ottawa, dont ici à Toronto. On a pris la décision que l'opération, ça serait la meilleure manière d'aller pour faire ça qu'Eric puisse jouer au meilleur de son talent au mois d'octobre. Anything else?
One question.
Oh.
Andrew Hammond, the forgotten man. How's his rehab doing?
Good question. Andrew Hammond was here last week. He's right on pace. He's ahead of schedule, and I know it could be an option that he's our backup next year.